Some stories begin with love, others begin with a mistake. But this story began with a moment that should never have happened. And yet, it changed everything. This is the story of Ify, a young woman who thought she understood her life, until one night with her mother-in-law changed everything. Ify was the kind of woman many people admired. She was calm, intelligent, and kind-hearted. And recently she had just completed her court wedding with the man she loved, Tunde. Their traditional wedding was already being planned. Everything in her life seemed perfect. Tunde loved her deeply. His family welcomed her warmly, especially his mother. Mrs. Adebayo was not like most mothers. She was stylish, confident, and powerful. A successful single mother who had raised Tunde alone. Her home was always full of life, full of vibe and good music, guests and celebrations. And every once in a while, she threw a party that people talked about for weeks. One evening, she hosted one of those famous gatherings. The house was full. Music echoed through every room. People danced. Friends laughed. Wine glasses clinked in celebration. It felt like the perfect night. Tunde had to leave early the next morning for work, but Ify stayed behind with a few women her age. They offered to help clean after the party, while the others were downstairs laughing and cleaning. Ify remembered she needed something upstairs, so she walked quietly up the staircase. The music downstairs became faint. The hallway upstairs was calm, almost silent. She opened one of the bedroom doors, and that was when she saw Mrs. Adebayo sitting on the bed. Ify was surprised. "Oh, I'm sorry, Ma. I didn't know anyone was here." Mrs. Adebayo, smiling slightly. "Relax, Ify. I just came up to rest for a moment. Parties can be exhausting." Ify nods awkwardly and turns toward the door. "Mrs. Adebayo, before you go, could you turn off the light?" Ify nods and says, "Yes, Ma." Ify reaches for the switch to switch off the light. The room falls into darkness, except for a faint glow from the hallway. Ify turns to leave. But suddenly she feels a presence behind her. Very close. Too close. She turns sharply. Ify, startled. "Ah, you scared me." Mrs. Adebayo is standing right behind her, close enough that Ify can feel her breath. For a moment, neither of them moves. Mrs. Adebayo, in a soft voice, says to Ify, "You're always so polite, Ify." Her hands gently rest on Ify's shoulders. Ify freezes. Ify, at this point, is so nervous, but laughs still. "Ma, the others are downstairs. They're probably wondering where I—" Before she finishes the sentence, Mrs. Adebayo leans closer. Her lips brush lightly against the back of Ify's neck. Ify gasps. "Ify. Ma, what are you?" But the words fade. Mrs. Adebayo kisses her neck again, slowly, confidently, like someone who knows exactly what she's doing. Ify's breath becomes uneven. She should step away. She should stop this. But her body refuses to move. Ify had never felt anything like this before. Mrs. Adebayo's hands guide her gently toward the bed. There is a calm confidence in the older woman, a quiet control, as if she understands something about Ify that Ify herself has never discovered. Mrs. Adebayo, whispering, "Relax." For the first time in Ify's life, she stops thinking, stops resisting, stops understanding what is happening. All she knows is the strange wave of sensation rushing through her, confusing, overwhelming, impossible to ignore. Moments later, she lies there breathless, staring at the ceiling, her heart racing. Her world suddenly unfamiliar, Mrs. Adebayo adjusts her dress calmly, as if nothing unusual has happened. "Mrs. Adebayo, you should go downstairs." People might start asking questions. Ify slowly sits up, still stunned, still trying to understand what just happened. Downstairs, the party continued. People were dancing, laughing. Everything looked normal. But Ify was not the same. Days turned into weeks. Tunde excitedly planned their wedding, but Ify couldn't focus anymore. Her mind kept returning to that night, that moment upstairs. She loved her husband, but something inside her had awakened, something she didn't understand. Late at night, Ify often lay awake in silence, thinking, questioning, trying to understand what she felt. Was it curiosity? Was it confusion? Or was it something deeper she had never discovered about herself? One moment had shaken everything she believed about her life. One night, as Ify sat alone in her room, her phone started ringing. It was Tunde calling. On the table beside her were unfinished wedding invitations. Ify stared at the phone. And for the first time in her life, she asked herself a question she had never asked before. Should she continue the life everyone expected of her? Or should she confront a truth she didn't fully understand yet? Sometimes life doesn't change with loud events. Sometimes life changes with a quiet moment, behind a closed door, on a night that was supposed to be ordinary. And for Ify, that night changed everything. If you were Ify, what would you do? Tell Tunde the truth. Pretend the night never happened. Cancel the wedding or confront the mother-in-law